All right, folks, you're listening to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast, and I'm Vito D'Amico. Today we are talking to rock journalist Mitch Lafon. Everybody, how are you, Mitch?
I'm doing very well, actually. Pleasure to be here. It's funny. Years ago, a guidance counselor took me into his office and said, "You should be a stand-up comedian." And I said, "Well, no, I kind of like to have a life." So,
No,
um,
I know, but believe me, when they said that to me for years, they go, "You should be a stand-up comedian," and you know what that's code for? You're
yeah, you're a
useless.
fuck up.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're fucking useless, and you can't do anything else.
Okay.
So I
But
was like,
but I looked at the guidance counselor and I said, "Well, you're a guidance counselor in a high school. Who are you to give me advice?"
Yeah,
Quite
I know.
frankly,
I think they act like they're fucking gods or
like
something.
you've
It's
succeeded in
you,
life. Way to
yeah,
go,
I
buddy.
know. You follow them to the parking lot, and they got like a fucking '89 Mazda 323. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
and that's the new car.
yeah, and that's their summer car. So yeah, what you know what's cool? People that don't know Mitch, Mitch is a he has interviewed some of the biggest names in rock and roll. I mean, we're talking Alice Cooper, Dee Schneider, Slipknot, Pantera, Metallica, Anthrax, my favorite, Judas
All of
Priest.
this.
You
Judas
name it, he's done it. You know, Ha-
Iron Maiden. Yeah.
Iron Maiden. My first concert I ever went to was an Iron Maiden concert. I was on acid, and it was the absolute best. Don't go on acid. Go try heroin, but don't do the acid because that shit will wreck you. A
You
buddy of
need to keep acid for Miley Cyrus. That's when you need the acid.
oh fucking right. I don't. What I don't get is I'll be in the car with my kids, and my kids are younger, and they know when I put on Priest or anything good, they know it's my time, and they don't ask questions, and it's cool because my son rocks out, and then like a few times they'll complain, go, Dad, does it have to be that loud? And it's like, are you guys kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is rock, man. This is fucking rock and roll. I don't say fucking. I go, this is rock and roll. And later on, like maybe a couple months later, it was hilarious. The kids would go, Dad, can you put that Priest thing on? And I'm like, Judas Priest, right here, right there. You want some Metallica? Got it right here. It's awesome. I love it because when they go to school, kids will say, "Well, what's your dad listen to?" And they're like, Metallica. They're like, "Hey, my dad does too." And I feel old, but I'm like, at least they're listening to something good.
Actually, my kids go to school and they go, "Here's a picture of my dad standing next to Metallica."
Yeah, that is. See,
Yeah.
I Photoshop mine. So,
Oh, okay.
and they
Yeah.
know because I'm not good with Photoshop, so they know it's bullshit. So, uh, yeah, what's that like? I always when I watched you or listened to you, you remind me of. You ever saw that movie Almost Famous?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, like
People have compared me to that many times because I did my first interview when I was 11. So
yes, with Gene Simmons.
yes, not just not the library teacher or the librarian at school, right? Gene Simmons of Kiss.
I
Or
can't. I was listening to that last night. I couldn't believe how nice he was to you. I kept thinking he was going to be, like Gene Simmons of today, where, like, I know a bunch of comics that have told me, said, V, man, he do never walk up to Gene Simmons while he's taking a piss. And I'm like, well, what do you expect? He's going to be bent out of shape. And he's like, no, don't, he's just not a happy camper lately. Unless you're a chick with nice tits, he'll talk to you. But if you kind of look like an unemployed shoe salesman, he will, he's not that happy. You talked to him, and it was so cool. He talked to you like you were a man, like a little man.
it was a great experience. Gene was very, very nice, and from the dealings I've had, that on stage persona or that in the media persona is somewhat misleading. And when he's back with his family or backstage, he seems to be more of a doting old father kind of thing. But he was exceptionally nice
Oh, was he
to
ever?
me. Yeah. So, and that was an interesting time. Now, I wonder how much of it they had to be nice. This was during the Unmasked press junket,
Right.
and their numbers weren't doing so good, so I think maybe they had to be nice to everybody, right? But
Yeah.
no, it's a great memory, and it opened a lot of doors, I have to say.
Oh, did it ever? Fuck, that was absolutely amazing to get Gene Simmons to talk to you, and the way he talked to you. I don't know. I don't know if he was trying. I think Gene Simmons is very either he likes you or he doesn't, and if you show that you're a fan and you're sincere, and you were asking some really neat questions.
Yep.
He saw that and said, "This is a fan where you got to remember this is 1980. This is almost 37 years ago. Different time. I mean, we're the same age. I remember 10 years old. I couldn't. I was wondering why. Uh, I could never imagine talking to Kiss when I was 10. And for you to do it, that is absolutely stunning. Because I mean, I wouldn't know how to approach him without. Back then, people don't understand. Back then, kids did not talk to adults. They just didn't. When people came over to the house, you never talked to an adult. You just said hi and you left. But you're sitting there having a conversation with, pretty much a rock god. That would be like fucking, meeting Zeus. You know,
Yeah, at the time it sort of was, and it's funny that you say that. You wouldn't know how to talk to Gene or how. I never had that. I always figured, oh well, there's a guy I should go talk to. When I see these different rock stars, like recently, I was thinking I should really interview Uli John Roth of the Scorpions. That would be really nice, and I set it on a mission and I made it happen. And then I ended up eating faux soup with him at a Thai restaurant.
that's
And it's just
amazing.
like, it's just how quickly it progressed. And so when I saw Kiss and I saw those people, I didn't say, wow, it'd be cool to talk to them. I had more of the attitude of, yeah, I should be calling them and having a chat with them. And maybe it was sort of a fantastical kind of 10-year-old
Yes, it is.
weird thought,
Yeah.
but that's sort of been that go-getter kind of attitude that I've always had, even if sometimes it's sort of indiscreet or you just go, hey.
But I think it was an innocence that you showed. You showed an innocence, and the only thing I could think of is, my kids will say they'll see something on TV and they go, "Dad, why don't you talk to him?" And it's like, I have to explain, son, that guy's in Hollywood. You should go have dinner with this guy, or you should hang out with him. They really, for some reason, remember the guy from Men in Black, not the black guy. My
Yeah,
my daughter was just thought he was
Tommy Lee Jones,
Tommy
right?
Lee Jones, thought he was the coolest guy in the world, and my daughter's like, you should hang out with him, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should. And she's
Make
like,
it happen.
yeah, and why? And she's like, why don't you? And I'm like, just it doesn't work that way, sweetie. But when you have the mentality that you have, where back then you're like, I like the music. I would really like to talk to this person about that. You didn't know that back then everybody wanted to talk to them. It was like you would have to go through press. You would have to go through such and such. You only have a certain time to talk to these people. It's a very guarded. It can be very guarded, and to have a little kid, what if you went on there and you said something to embarrass him, or said something that your music's not that great live on air. That could really put him in a bad. He could sit there
In a
and
bad
go,
spot. Yeah,
yeah,
no, but I gotta say, just I don't want to say in my own defense, but I've always been very polite and very
yeah,
respectful. So I wouldn't have said something like that. And
right.
also, as far back as grade 8, I was not diagnosed, but I was told that I had a university level language skill set and so on. So having a sort of mature conversation, my mom and my dad were both university professors and stuff, so it probably rubbed off there. So having sort of a mature conversation with Gene didn't seem far fetched to me, and it really wasn't that difficult to do. I was sitting staring at one of the album covers, and I saw on the back that Ocoin Management. So I phoned New York operator and I said, "Do you have a phone number for Ocoin Management?" And they gave it to me, and I phoned and said, "Hey, I'd like to interview Gene, or I'd like to interview Kiss." I said, and they said, "Okay." And I mean, really, it was really that simple.
Really?
And I was like, "Yeah," and I was
That's
like,
how simple it was.
"Yeah," and
Wow.
I was like, okay. And they offered me Paul Stanley first, and then they phoned back, very apologetic, saying Paul is not going to be able to. Would you mind if it was Gene Simmons? And I was like,
You're like,
"What
no,
am I?"
fuck, I don't know. I want Paul. I want
I'll
Paul.
I'll take the roadie. Yeah, no, but yeah, no. So it was very very interesting that happened, and they said, would you like to do it in person? They're doing interviews in New York City at Ocoin Management, and I was like, okay, why not? I'm in
Wow.
Montreal, so I told my mom and I said, could you drive me to New York to interview Kiss on June 9th? I mean,
That's what you said to your mom. Can you drive me to go interview? It's fine, ma. Ma, it's fine. I told
yeah,
it's okay. He said it's okay.
yeah,
That's
and of
amazing.
course, mom is she's still alive, but she's always been whatever we can do to please the kids, right? Because she
Right.
was a divorced mom, and it was whatever we can do to please the kids, and she's like, all right, I'll drive you to New
Or
York.
you just go, Daddy will take me, and she'll go, no, no, I'm taking you. Fuck that. I
Yeah,
I want to be the one you love most.
yeah, Daddy would never have taken me. I wanted to go see the Kiss movie, which was, I believe, they had Attack of the Phantoms that was in the theaters, right? They had
Yeah.
Phantom, whatever. And he just said, "No, you ain't gonna go see that crap." And so no, that wouldn't have happened. So it worked, and I went. And then 2 months later, they announced that Palladium show in July 25th. Eric Carr is going to be the new drummer, and I said to my mom, "So would you mind if we go?"
Oh, that is so cool.
And we found a ticket broker at the time and bought 2 tickets because they had been quote unquote sold out, but we found a shady little part of town in New Jersey where they were selling tickets off the back of a truck, and we bought 2 tickets to the show. And I saw Eric Carr's first show too. So no, it was 1980 was a very, very good summer for me. From sort of mid-June to end of August was a very interesting time. And of course, uh, the irony in all of that is when I interviewed it, because back then we didn't have, a photo on Instagram, and we didn't have YouTube, and we didn't have any of that.
Right. Yeah, yeah. People don't get that.
Everybody
Yeah.
They don't get that. Everybody said that I was a liar. You didn't really do it. You're
Oh,
a
I wouldn't
liar.
believe you. I
Fucking
would, I
lying.
would, I would. We're the same age. I would just sit there and go, Mitch, do you want to play fucking Hot Wheels or what? Like what the fuck's this shit about talking about Gene Simmons? You know,
Yeah.
and you'd be
So
like, all right, let's play Hot Wheels, and I go, I shoved them up my ass again. Can you give me a hand? Just
yeah.
uh, uh, I would not believe you without a photo.
And nobody did. And so this sort of cool moment of my life became almost this albatross or this embarrassment. And years later, somewhere, around the Kiss reunion tour, I started mentioning it, and by then I had put the interview onto a CD, right? Oh, technology,
Yeah, yeah.
and people could hear it, and they were like, "Oh, you weren't lying. Oh, so we fucking ragged on you for 15 years. We're
Oh, that is
sorry."
incredible. People don't understand.
No.
Like in 1980, the technology, it was on radio or whatever. You, it's so
The interview
different.
was on
It's
reel to reel. The real interview was on reel to reel.
really,
And I still have the reel to
oh,
reel, but
that's
it's a
amazing.
reel to reel interview. I
People,
mean, that was one hell of a machine to bring down to New York City. It was literally the size of like
oh,
those
it was
early
suitcase.
day
Yeah,
VCRs. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like a
It was
suitcase. It was like a
it must
little
have been
suitcase,
40
and
pounds,
yeah,
40 pounds. Oh yeah.
that is
And
incredible. I mean, it just blows me away. Um, you should have made bets with people and then made
I
some
made
money.
my mom carry it though, so that was
Yeah,
good.
what a sweet lady. Your mom's a very
I know.
sweet lady to do
Yes.
that. Like, do you, how do you not throw that in people's face now? I don't think you would because you've. It's
Yeah.
so easy now to just go on YouTube and check it out. And I mean, here's the thing: what I notice with your interviews, the guys, or most of the people that I've listened to you talk, have been males. They respect you or they like you because you know a lot about the subject. You know about the history of the band, the tunes, the albums. If there's lineup changes, and sometimes I hear the band surprise, like you were talking to Rob Halford the other day, and he was like, "What? How did you know that?" You're like, "Yeah, well, I just know," and he was kind of, "Wow, you know." I think it's this thing of this guy's not only a fan, he really, really enjoys talking about the subject, and it's not somebody just uh, just
It's not a cookie cutter
yeah,
interview.
exactly.
And-
I feel like, when I'm watching it,
but it's
what's really nice,
respectful,
it's
though.
very respectful, and
You have to be.
I think they sit there and they genuinely like you, which is really cool. I mean, sometimes I listen to interviews with bands, and the band's like, it's like, all right, let's move on or let's do this. But they
Right,
generally
'cause they do
they talk to
15 in
you.
a row.
Yes, they
You know,
talk. Yes, but they talk to you like you're a
a
friend.
buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
But I think that's part of the respect. I bands that I know and love, the Scorpions and Kiss and stuff, those are easy interviews to do. Other bands that I do that I don't know their history, I will research it for days and days and days upon end, and I'll have all kinds of notes and stuff ready to go. And so when the guy starts saying, in 1973 we did this album, I don't go, oh, they did an album. So I mean, I have it there, and I go, oh yeah, yeah. You mean this one that was produced by this guy? And you need to be prepared to do that, because otherwise, why are you doing the interview if you're not
Yeah,
interested in the subject
yeah,
and you're not respectful with the subject? Then step aside and give the spot to somebody out there who is. Which is why when you look at sort of the big box interviews, the CNNs and the Time magazines and the Rolling Stones, and you go, really, you're in a big fucking magazine like that, and you're going to ask them about the new album, and are you going to do a tour, and oh, I didn't know you were in this band, like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
research?
The best is watching if they ever go on CNN or some news show, and they'll have like an anchor, and they'll ask questions of the band that just annoys the fuck out of the band, and
All the time.
you could just see the look on their faces, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, they're like, I can't believe there are millions of people watching this, and I'm talking to this moron, you know.
The eye roll.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
listen, I just did interviewed Simon Kirke of Bad Company,
right,
who's also in Free, and I haven't actually put that one out yet. But there's a song he did that from an album a couple of years ago that talks about how he went out during 9/11 and helped the folks and drove a truck for the Red Cross. Not a story that's necessarily out there,
right.
but I researched it and I dug into the story, and you can tell as we got to the 45th minute, and I asked him this question, and he went, "Oh, really? Like, you know that?
Right.
Okay." And the answer after that was and let's understand. I was given a hard 15 minutes with him, and I got to 15, and I said, I've got so many more questions, but we're out of time. And he goes, "Oh, no, 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 I'm enjoying this. Let's keep going."
Yeah.
And I ended up getting an hour. And that's part of it. When you start having the great questions and the respect, and you show that deference to them,
Yeah, that's
they'll
a
stay
big
a
turn
little
on.
longer.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
big turn on, because the worst thing you could do, and bands, a lot of people learn this, if you give an hour or whatever, half hour, or an hour, if you say I got an hour, and they're with somebody they do not like, and that's what I wanted to ask you. If you are, if you got to do an hour and you don't like the person, or you just don't like the questions, you don't like what they're, they're kind of, it was really weird. The other day I'm listening to the radio, and this woman interviewed Paul Stanley, and she's like, right
Yeah,
away,
I heard that one.
yeah, right away,
She goes, "You don't belong in the Hall of Fame."
exactly. And I'm like, that's how you start an interview off? What the fuck? I mean, I'm annoying, but I do not go out of my way to, most people that I interview, I like. I really have this type of, I want to know about you. Like, I want to know what's going on. I'm not into annoying the person, And I just thought, why would you do something like that? And you could tell Paul was not happy, and he was just like, fuck, like, why would you say something so stupid? And yeah, like, I don't get that
And
shit.
the funny thing with that one is I've heard Paul in those situations, and he'll just sort of hang up on you or politely, end the
Oh,
interview.
he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome in it. Like,
But she's the wife of a famous drummer that Paul has known and even had played with. So he sort of sat there, I guess, out of respect to his buddy,
Yeah.
and took it. And he kept throwing it back at her, but she was it was inappropriate. I don't care who you are. I don't care who your husband is or your wife.
Yeah.
You don't get on to somebody and go, "Hi, Paul, you don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame," or, "Hey, Lars, your last album really sucks, so tell me about the new one."
Yeah, but
It's
to say
don't
you
do
don't,
that.
yeah, you don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is really, It's saying your music is awful. That's what it's saying. It's saying nobody likes your music, and I don't like your music. And I just thought, I get it. Like, everybody wants hits. Everybody wants people to check out. Hey, did you hear what this person said? But I just thought, why do you got to make it so? If you don't like it, have the guy that was a fan, have him talk to Paul. I'd rather listen to somebody that's a fan than have,
Yeah.
you
But
know,
on the same token, you may not like Kiss's music and say that the music is not worthy of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, but the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is about how you've affected society and how
right.
you're an influence on the music scene. And you cannot tell me that every rock guy in the 80s who picked up a guitar wasn't influenced by having seen Ace Frehley's smoking guitar. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
tell me
yeah.
that the whole Sunset Strip scene wasn't somewhat that effeminate get up, wasn't somehow influenced by Kiss and the Dolls. And just that is enough to get you into the rock. Forget all the
How
songs.
about selling
Forget that.
millions? How about selling millions and millions and millions of albums all over the world? How about
Well,
that? Just take it from that.
but obviously that's important. But I'm saying take away all the music, throw it all out. You still have to say that they are iconic. They are
Yeah, of
right
course.
up
Yes.
there with a picture of Santa Claus who's never sold a record, with a Coca-Cola label that's never. They're iconic,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
affected American culture, and of course they affected world culture, and just that is Hall of Fame status.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Regardless is not a word. Regardless of the music.
Yeah, but to me, it's even to me, it's a lot simpler than that. It's like getting a person that won an Oscar and letting them know, or how a person that never won an Oscar but they're up for an Oscar and saying, "Listen, I saw your role. I don't think you deserve the Oscar. Now let's continue with this interview." I just find that fucking like you just
Well,
spat on the
actually,
person's face.
it's more of you won the Oscar, but really, I think the Academy made a fucking mistake.
Yeah, like
There's no
why?
way. It's like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
like what? Like
Anyway,
how are we supposed to be friends here? I don't get how. For me, I'm Italian, so it's kind of like you kind of offended me, and I got a smirk. But if we were in a bar together, I'd slap the fucking piss out of you. It'd be like,
it was totally inappropriate.
yeah. So I really I don't get that, and I thought Paul handled it perfectly. He was throwing nice jabs. He was hilarious through it, and being a pro. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Have you ever, done an interview where it has gone horribly wrong, like this one? Like, you know what I mean? Where you've
Well, not in that sense. I mean, I've done interviews that have gone that haven't been very good. There was, I interviewed In Flames at Heavy Montreal,
right,
and it's a Swedish metal band. And I had all these great questions, and they had a new album. They had all kinds of stuff, and we were only going to do a hit and run, about 5 minutes. And the guy was like, "Well, I'm not really sure why they booked an interview at this time. We've been traveling all night. I have only slept 2 hours. I don't know." And it's like, well, that's not my fucking problem, dude. I mean,
right.
you're here now, and you've got to sell your trinkets. You got to sell your tchotchkes. Let's get on with it. So, don't blame me that your publicist set you up with I mean, and that
It's
one was.
ego. To me, it's ego.
Well, he was being to me, it's being unprofessional. I mean, if you're the guy in Metallica and you don't feel like it, I guess you have sort of an acquired right. But
Right.
when you're a small town band, anyway.
But
And then
that's
there was
what I
a
mean.
time.
If you're just a little band, like fuck, dude, could you imagine?
Suck it up,
Yeah,
suck it
exactly.
up,
Like,
Buttercup.
buddy, yeah, you better. I don't give a shit if you had 15 minutes of sleep. If I was in the band, I'd be like, just sell the shit. It's all about
But it was a
getting the word
5 minute
out.
interview. That was the point, too. Though
It
it's not
couldn't be
like we said
5 minutes.
we're going to sit with you for 8 hours.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
said we've got an hour, this is the life of the guy in Flames. Let's go with it. I could see him saying, "Listen, I'm fucking tired. I can't do an
Right,
hour."
right.
But it was 5 minutes. It's like, yes, we have a new album. Here's the songs we recorded here. Here's a tour. Thank you very much. Okay, that's. And he could have gone right back to bed, Anyway, and then there was a time this year actually with Lita Ford, and she was supposed to call at 1, and at 1 she didn't call, and at 1:15 she didn't call. So I called the publicist or the manager, and I said, "Where is she?" And they said, "Oh my God, we're gonna get her." And they called her, and for some reason she just wasn't in a mood for it. And I guess the publicist might have said, "Hey, you're talking to Mitch Lafon. You might
Right, right.
you want to get this done." and I don't blame her. She just wasn't feeling it that day. But the interview, if you listen to it, I think it's from April 2016, I guess, for earlier. You could just tell that it was pulling teeth, and you could just tell that she was having none of my questions. And the funny thing is that she played Montreal in October. I went backstage, we hung out, we took a picture together with me and my wife and everybody. So there's no animosity, but that interview, holy mackerel, it
Yeah.
took a left turn. It took a hard left real quick, but
Yeah. And
you
I've
know,
I've had that happen, and it's just
we
like
have
you're
bad days.
yeah,
I mean,
everybody has bad days, but I've tried to I try and think, fuck it, when's the next time I'm going to talk? This person's actually doing me a favor. That's how I think of it. I just think this person, if they
well, it
really
is.
want to talk to me, they're doing me a favor. This is my business. This is what I do. Like I'll look at one of the nicest guys out there is Alice Cooper,
Absolutely.
and he is a rock god. He can. I've never seen the guy be a dick. I've never seen him.
No, he's not.
And he's not. It's just not his nature, And he's such a sweet guy. Even D. Schneider is like that. Just a very kind person, and it
Yeah, even
amazes
though
me.
publicly he's got that whole persona. Let me just say one thing about interviews like this. What I don't like is when an interview goes south, and it does happen. It's those guys who get onto their Facebook or their Twitters and they go, "I just interviewed so and so of this band. He was such a dick to me."
Yeah,
And
you'll never talk to them again.
it's like, dude,
Yeah,
you'll never talk to them
yeah,
again. And you know what? The publicist is going to look at that and say, "Well, I'm not going to give him this artist because
right,
you know
exactly. Like use your
you're
brains. I
also
know, I
you're
know.
in the public sphere. You got to portray a public image of understanding, respect, whatever word you want to use.
I
And if you look at my Facebook,
No, you're nothing like that. You're very. I mean, the every day you have about 20 things up. It's such and
yeah,
such
sorry,
birthday. It's
sorry.
it's it's no, it's nice, but it's very nice. It's very informative, but you never have a crossword. And
No,
I don't I that's just you're not the type of person that likes conflict. You just say, hey, if like I've even seen you do this where bands don't get along, and you've been very. I mean, D. Schneider when he had his.
well, the rat stuff, I
Yeah,
did an
yeah,
interview
yeah.
with Bobby Blotzer and I did an interview with Steven. I happen to like Steven quite a bit. I've gone to dinner with Steven. We've hung out and all, we've, been out to his place in Studio City. And, Bobby phoned and said, I want to put my story out there. And I think I owe it, in a sense, to the rock community to get both sides. And I think I owe the respect of not getting him on the phone and being belligerent or
Right.
being blah blah blah. I mean, because that really accomplishes nothing except it really makes you look like an ass. It doesn't make the artist look like an ass because fans are going to think what they're going to think of the band anyway. If you don't like Venom, it doesn't matter if
Right.
I tell you you should like them. You're not going to like them. So the same thing with these interviews. It doesn't matter if you like Bobby or not, or if I like him or not. Anyway,
No, I know
fans.
it's kind of but see, it's just like what you just did right now. You're like, you just explained it and let's move on. It's kind of you don't like taking sides, and which is cool. I mean, yeah, you know what I think what I thought was really cool. You did an awesome interview with D. Schneider and when he was upset with Kiss. And you even said to D, you said when he was upset right in the beginning, you said, D, did you want me to keep that or you want me to get rid of that? Which I thought that was really nice to do that. I mean, you could have put that out there, and D could have been, I was talking to you earlier on. Why the fuck did you put that on? But you asked him. You said, are you sure you want me to put that out there? And that was really, really cool. Most guys would just put that out there. And I think D saw that saying, you know what? Mitch is a nice guy. He's a buddy. He did not want to cause a huge conflict. He asked me if I wanted that out there. And even though it is gold, it is absolute gold. He would have
Yeah, but
erased it. You would have taken if he said. I know for a fact
I
you would
would
have
have.
got rid of it if he said, "Yeah, dude, I don't want that out there." You would have got rid of it. And I think a lot of guys see that about you, where they go, "You know what? He will. He's not
Well, I
there."
got your back because you got to look at the long-term picture.
Right.
Because, listen, I have two interviews that I did last year, and both artists, and I'm not going to say who, went on spiels about
Sure.
former singers and former band members, and they just cut into them, and it was gold. absolute gold. If I had put that out there, it would have been on every website.
Yeah.
But that's somewhat ephemeral because, okay, I've got Blabbermouth today and Brave Words today saying, Mitch interviewed so and so and he said that this guy was a fucking blah blah blah. And then down the road, when I go back to them, in 2 years and say, hey, let's do another interview, they'll say, oh, no, I'm not talking to you, you fucker. Look what you did. So you
Yeah.
got to think of the big picture. If you're in this for the long haul and the long term, and you want to do this for 10, 15, 20 years, you sometimes have to swallow stuff and just say, okay, fuck it. So I've got these 2 interviews that are both a half hour. They're absolutely golden. They laid out everything that they thought from their perception was wrong with the ex-band members. None of that stuff has ever been said publicly before. I could easily throw it up on YouTube or Spreaker or Stitcher or iTunes tonight, but then I know that my relationship with those 2 bands
Yes, of
are
course. Yes,
dead
people
and
don't
buried.
get that. I know
And
that. Yeah, sorry. Go.
and people don't know that, and people don't understand that, and they also don't understand that it's very, very incestuous, this business. If you fuck with this guitarist of that band, well, he's friends with that drummer in this
Exactly.
other band,
Yeah.
and now this other band's going to say, oh yeah, he did that to you? Well, I'm not going to fucking talk to him either.
Exactly.
And next thing you know, you're interviewing your mom for the next podcast.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
go,
Yeah.
well, I'm not sure that's going to really create a great fan base there, is it now?
Yeah, you
So-
might have. Yeah, it's kind of like you might have hit a couple of highs, but bands see that.
You got to get it's the long picture. The big picture. The long haul, the big picture. Let
Yeah.
me get my metaphors, whatever you
know
call
what
them.
what I see, Mitch, is people think that they're another guy that Eddie Trunk. They think they're Eddie Trunk, right? So they'll sit there and
Yeah, they're not.
and they're not. And he's got a big fan base. He's got people that listen to him. He can afford getting into altercations with bands. Well, if you're nowhere near an Eddie Trunk, don't. There's no
But you
point
see,
in
you've got
doing
the
that.
machinery. If you're the writer for Rolling Stone magazine and you happen to say, well, the new Kiss album sucks, they will be upset with you. But the next time they have an album out, they still need that Rolling Stone cover and article, and so they will come back.
Right.
If you're Joe Schmo, or if you're not Eddie Trunk, or if you're Mitch Lafon podcast, and you do that, they'll say, I don't need that fucking dude. I'll just go
Well,
somewhere
no,
else.
you know what
You gotta-
happens.
you gotta-
I don't think with you. I don't think with you. I
Well,
think if
no.
you're a smaller person, but if
but
if
that's
you're
that's what people do.
what will happen is they'll just sit there and go, bands talk to each other and they know each other, and they'll just say, when you're in Montreal and you're in town, don't talk to Mitch. He was a complete dick to us.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen.
And that's what
you know,
happens.
publicists also, by the way, they're all across the board. There's a publicist now. She handles Guns N' Roses. Well, she also handles Bryan Adams. She also handles Nickelback. The Office also handles the Moody Blues. So if you all of a sudden piss off one artist in one interview, you're now cutting yourself out of all these other artists and all these other genres. And those are their big clients. Out of all those big clients, they've got some smaller clients. You've now killed off an entire family tree because you wanted to be the internet hero.
Yeah.
Well, hey, bravo, internet hero. If you want to be Facebook famous, God bless you. But if you want to do this and be serious and be respected, sometimes you gotta,
Yeah. It's called business.
Now, that said, though, all the interviews I put out are unedited. I don't edit anything else. Everything is there. It's either I'm sort of all in or all out. If we're going to do this, you're going to get the entire interview. And if you want me to pull something, well, I'm pulling the entire interview. That's sort of because I don't want fans to start thinking that, they're getting 35 minutes with Rob Halford and he had me cut out 25 of it. That was really good. I mean, that's not it. The 2 that I dropped, everything was dropped. So talking about their new album, their new solo album, all that they lost too. That's sort of that's
I do the same thing.
give and take,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I do the same thing.
And the interviews that go out there, mine are totally. That's it. This is what we said. And that was how it was said, and that's it.
But if I do get an interview and it is kind of a hot topic and it can be something where maybe they get themselves in trouble, I always ask him at the end. I go, dude, do you want me to put this out there? If you don't, I won't. And they always say, no, fuck, put it out there. And you sure? Because once it's out, it's out. And they're like, no, it's fine. And I always ask at the end because I just feel I don't want them to, I don't want to get that message saying, you fucking bitch, what are you doing? And it's just, I
That's
don't.
funny because I do it up front. I'll say to them,
No, I
"Listen,
say
I'm
that
recording
before.
this
Yeah, I
and
say that
everything,"
before, but at the
and I
end,
say to them, "Yeah,
yeah,
I don't do the back stuff. I just say to them, I say it's we're recording and I use the audio. So if there's anything that you don't want out there, just don't say it. I mean, if there's a release date that you don't want to leak or a
yeah,
tour date, or I said because I'm not going to go back and start editing stuff out because that just becomes complicated and
yes.
choppy and loses the flow. But
No, yeah,
it's
yeah. No, I do that right in the beginning. But I mean, if it's a topic, just say it's a really hot topic and they go deep
I
into it.
call it the hang up question, by the way. I keep that one for the end. I do all the softballs, and I work my way up to the. If you listen to the sort of the arc of all my interviews, it's always you're talking to me because of the new album. So let's go there first. Then there's obviously going to be a tour. Let's go there second, and now let's get starting into your history. Let's do the fluffy history. And here's the one. And I sort of figure if they hang up on me after 20 minutes, well, at least I've got 19 in the can, right?
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. I annoy them right off the bat, and they go, "Okay, this
And then
is."
they hang up on you, and you go,
Yeah,
"Fuck, I don't
you
have
just
an
go,
interview."
"Fuck, what?
Man.
That? Why did they always do that?" And then they suck my dick. Um,
Yeah,
what?
I
What?
know. The hang up question. You keep it for the end.
Wait, like, I saw you talk to Slipknot, the Sean Clown,
Yeah,
and
that was really funny because he was sitting out there without his mask and stuff, and he was smoking a cigar, and he was talking about how whatever it was, his knee or neck or back or whatever was hurt, like really like an old grandpa saying, when I was 15 years old, we walked to school barefooted, and
yeah,
he
yeah,
was giving me that sort of spiel, and we said,
it's
okay, we're gonna do
it's
the interview, and he goes,
hilarious.
all right, hold on, let me get this on, and
Yeah, I know it's hilarious. I
it
love
was a
it. To
it was
me,
a
to me
great
that yeah, to
transformation.
me that is just fuck. That is wonderful. I love shit like that. I just
And then
to me it makes people human. You know.
yeah, it does. And he went back at the end of the interview and he took off the mask and he's rubbing his knee and he goes, "Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this." It was just so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
just
I love
that
that.
people
That
can't see that,
I love people actually being. I had this thing where. I won't say the name, but they said he was going to be a big dick. He was going to be a dick, and all right, it was Pauly Shore, and they said he was going to be a dick, and I meet him, wonderful guy, just so nice to me.
But I mean, a lot of this the sort of dick attitude comes from the dick interviewer.
Yeah,
The
and
the
that's what
guy
I
who thinks
that's what
he's
I
gonna
came
be
up
hot
with.
cotton. Yeah. I mean, you always have to, check your sources, right? The guy comes and says, "Hey, so and so is a dick." You go, coming from you, not so sure I'm gonna buy that. Coming from him, maybe I could see that, but if Mitch says it, okay, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not that
You
great of
you
a
ever get that where you meet somebody where people go, Mitch, this guy's going to be a complete asshole. This guy's going to be a
all
goof. And then all of a sudden you meet them, you talk to me, you realize they're actually being very nice to me. And it,
listen, Dana Strum of Slaughter had a birthday the other day, and I posted on my Facebook, and a lot of the message I got, "Oh, Dana's a dick, Dana's a diss," and I'm like, he's absolutely not a dick.
right.
But when my daughter was born, he sent a gift. Whenever
Wow.
he's in town or whatever, he treats us to stuff. Vince Neil played in Trois Rivières, Quebec, about 5 6 years ago. He said, "I'll bring you and your wife. Let's come over to the hotel. Come up to my room. We'll chat. We'll do things, and then we'll and for the show, I'll have you sit side stage." And he's always been exceptionally, exceptionally nice. Now, I'll say this though. He's a very astute businessman. If you're going to do some kind of business with him, you're a club owner or whatever, he's going to try to suck the blood out of you. But that's what you're supposed to do in business. You're supposed to get as much as you can for your band, for your client, for you. I mean,
Right.
that's not being a dick. That's being a businessman.
Yes, yes.
And the same thing goes with fans and stuff. Some fans come backstage or at a signing and they think you're owed the world. Are you owed, an autograph on a picture or a CD book? I think so. A handshake, maybe okay, I think so. But sometimes it becomes, and I've seen it, fans are just nutty.
Yeah.
They think, "Oh, can you donate $10,000 to me?" I mean, I've seen that, and you go, "Excuse me? Well, you're rich." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Like,
I know. And then you wonder why these guys
and then
just, yeah, I know.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
guy says, "No, I'm not going to do that." And then the next day you read, Bobby whatever is a dick because, and it's like, no, you
yeah.
were a dick. dumbass. Anyway, so like Dana Strum, he is the nicest person to me and to my family and to the friends. I mean, um, Motley Crue was coming through town on the Carnival of Sins tour, I guess, maybe 3-4 years ago. And he says, "You going to the show?" And I said, "Nah, I didn't put in a request. I wasn't." He goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just go to the venue, and I'll have a ticket for you." He fucking gave me front row center for free,
Oh, that
and
is
I'm like,
amazing.
"Front row center, huh? For free?" And then the funny thing is that he texted me about 20 minutes into the show, and he texted me and he goes, "Are you enjoying your view?" Or something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty much sure I'm enjoying this view, my buddy." Because he's managers or he helps out with Vince Neil, so that's why he has a Motley Crue connection.
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah." I texted him back, "Yeah, this'll work. This is good. I'm down with this
I didn't get a
positioning."
Toblerone bar. Did you? You should have
Yeah.
texted him
Well,
back.
see,
Where's
and
my goddamn
that
Toblerone?
but you know what? People do see, that's where people do that. I've seen fans, well, they'll get a picture and an autograph and a VIP, this and that, and they'll say, "Great, I got my thing, but it didn't include a free beer." And you go, "Really?
I know
Really?
you got to fuck it up. That's what I always worry about that. Never fuck it up. Be thankful for what you
Whatever
get.
you get, just say thank you
Yes,
because none of that is owed to you."
yes. Well, just have a good memory. Like I've gone to these concerts and I just want to have a good memory. If I've met somebody famous, I want to have a good memory. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable where afterwards I don't find that funny. I don't find that I
Like,
want to
you know
see
what
I
a
want to
dick
see that person again. I don't want them to roll their eyes when they see me.
see, a real dick move would have been because Dana gave me one ticket for that show, right?
Yeah,
I
can
would
you
have
get me two?
Right.
Yeah,
A
I
real
know.
dick move would have been, "Yeah, I'm having the view's great, but it would have been better if my buddy was with me." That would have been a dick move. And
Oh,
you don't do
huge.
that. You just go, "You know what? I got one.
Yeah.
That's all that was available. Thank you, Lord. Let's
Yeah.
get that." And
No, I know, and they always
but
yeah.
people do that though. They're people a lot of these dick rock stars really aren't dick rock stars. They're just a lot of people, Dave Mustaine. Big reputation that Dave Mustaine is a big dick. Oh my god, Dave Mustaine.
Oh, I listen to him almost every day. Him and Motorhead when I'm working out. It's just like they just put me in a good. I mean, I haven't listened to Motorhead in a while because I get upset thinking about Lemming. So
Yeah,
I don't. You know what I mean? I just don't.
and I have a great Lemmy story for you someday, but I drove him around Montreal for a whole
Oh
day. It was
fuck, that is okay. Next time you have to tell me, okay? But yeah, I know Dave's not a dick, but go on.
but yeah, so everybody's like, "Dave's a dick, Dave's a dick, Dave's a dick." And you look at these interviews and most of them are, "Well, when you were thrown out of Metallica," and I go, "You know what? I'd be a dick to you too if I've heard the same question for 30 years."
Yeah,
So I said to him, I said, "Hey Dave, I heard you were a born again Christian and this and that." And it's sort of an off the beaten track question in the sense that it's not about, "Tell me about your and that spark in that eye came up, and he was so nice to me afterwards, and he was
right.
like, "Oh yeah," and eh, you know,
Well, they want to. They, you know what? Sometimes they want to talk something besides the band. It'd be
and
nice.
besides the same question of the
Y-
last 30 years. I mean, how
yeah,
often are you can say to Dave, "When you were in Metallica, fuck off."
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
if you want to learn about Dave and Metallica, Google it. Find an interview from 1992 where he talked about it for the 18th time, and read that. And now let's move on to
Well,
what
it's
he's
just
doing.
the same regurgitated shit over and over for them, and after a while, you go into autopilot, and that's what you're getting. You're getting autopilot, and that is just there's no point. I skip through those interviews because I just know, what's it all about.
And that's where I think I try to be different because I try to do my research. And what I find in my research is when I see a topic that comes up over and over and over and over and over again, I go, "Okay, well, I don't want to ask him that because that's been asked 100 times before. So let's not be the guy who joins that parade. Let's, go down the other route."
right.
And but listen, there are sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to ask. I mean, you can't get an interview with Ozzy Osbourne and never talk about Black Sabbath. That
Sure.
also doesn't make sense. But you can find some other route in the Black Sabbath story that you can go down, and that's the important thing. So,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
No, yeah, yeah.
Now,
Did you ever have
now,
an interview that, like a fun moment in an interview that you didn't see coming?
oh, all the time, all the time. Yeah, I'm trying to think of specific moments, but I think a lot of the moments are, um, I get a lot of after an interview, the band will say, "Hey, now you have my name or number and blah blah blah. Call me anytime you want," or like that's always fun. The fact that that there was a connection created is interesting. When I was talking to Simon Kirk the other day, just of Bad Company, and that's my most recent interview, which is why it's fresh on my mind. When I asked him that 9/11 question, and he just went, "Oh, you, whoa, you know about that?" Like he said, "Oh, you know
Yeah.
about that?"
Yeah.
That's a fun moment because, like, okay, I got you out of that typical cookie cutter. Here's and so it's nice to know that you got their attention and you go, oh, okay, this dude is not just calling in the 10 questions, um, so that's good. And of course, the Gene Simmons interview was unexpected in the sense that after all of that, he sent me Christmas cards for a couple of years. He sent me an honorary membership to the Kiss Army with all the
Wow.
trinkets that came with. So
You got a
that,
Christmas card from Gene Simmons.
yeah,
That is incredible.
many of them.
That is
More
incredible.
more than one. Yeah, so, that stuff, and one of them, the envelope came handwritten in his handwriting, which was nice. So
It
that's
wasn't Paul's. No, it wasn't Peter Chris's. That'd be awesome.
well, because I don't think
Well, he needs a
Peter can
gig.
actually spell, quite frankly. Um, no, by the way, I love Peter. I do believe that he doesn't belong in Kiss anymore. Just in terms of physicality, I don't think he has what it takes. He certainly was, and anyway.
Right, right.
But those there are those moments that there's something that's sparked. I was interviewing Kirk Hammett of Metallica, and don't you love the way I just say this stuff just sort of matter of factly? Yeah, I was saying, but
No,
I
I
was
know. To
interviewing.
me, I'm like, I just talked to some guy that could suck his own dick. So
Yeah, you see,
that's fun. That's cool.
I haven't been able to do that in 30 years.
I try. I mean, I do. I mean, I really. I've tried a couple times, and I just
It's
can't.
difficult. Yeah,
I,
it's the strain on the neck is too much. But I was talking to Kirk, and in my um, bag that I had with me that had the microphone and all this, I had the Scorpions Gold CD, which was at the time, I don't know now, but at the time it was a greatest hits package only released in Canada, or certainly not in the States. And we're doing the interviews, and keeps looking over at it, And I said to him, I said, "Do you want to look at it? Do you want it?" He goes, "I've never seen this before." And he looks at the track listing, and now this gold collection has a whole bunch of unreleased tracks and stuff. And he's looking. I've never. He goes, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to go buy one of these and this and that." And I said, "Well, just take this one. It's $10. I'll go." And so he took it, and the guy comes in afterwards and said, "Well, you guys have got to leave it." Yeah. And Kirk says, "No, no, he's okay. He can stay here for a bit." And I said, "Oh, can we get an autograph? Can we get a picture?" And because they had said to us, "Don't ask for autographs." And he goes, "Yeah, because you got anything you want me to sign?" And so that's a moment
yeah.
that's unexpected. And I wasn't being a dick. I wasn't being like, I'm gonna get an autograph anyway, and fuck the record company. I wasn't doing that because that's stupid. Because again, your long term plan is if you screw with the guy there, and you're not getting in the next inter. And just because I had that Scorpion CD that had been sort of protruding from the bag, all of a sudden, all this other good stuff came from it. And I guess
Where
that's
you
one of
weren't, well, you could see that he was like a kid when he saw the album, and
oh, he's
you realize, you know what? I mean, you're talking about a man that's worth millions and millions of dollars, and you're like, here, you want it? And I think, what can you buy a millionaire? Nothing.
yeah,
There's nothing you could get them that they don't already have unless you have something like that.
and people with rock stars are always gimme, 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 gimme. And I think when you turn the table and give something, they go,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, thank you. That's very
And
nice.
the other
Yeah.
thing that's interesting though, is on that tour, because that was 2009. Between songs, they have a little hang, a little guitar thing that they sort of fill the space while they're changing lightings and people are coming on. Kirk's little hang, that 2 minutes of guitar playing that he would do to connect the shows, the two songs, was actually Sales of Chiron, Sales of Sharon, or Sales of Chiron by the Scorpions.
Hmm.
And I had recognized that, and that's probably why I had the CD with me, because I'd probably been listening to it in the car, going, "Hey, that is the same song." So we
Fuck,
ended
you
up
do your
talking.
homework, man. You do
Yeah,
your
we ended up
homework.
talking. We ended up talking about that, so it became a whole thing. Now, now speaking of homework, I do have to well, take a dump, as you said.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I wanted to
but
ask you just one thing.
yeah, let's go, and we should
One
definitely do a part two because this
we
was
will.
very
We'll do a part two.
it was
What do you
convenient.
listen to relax? And I wanted to ask you if you had a time machine. I ask this to everybody, but I love this. If you had a time machine and you could go back to see any band you ever in the history of the world, and you come back, you can't be stuck there. Who would you see? And yeah, do the one I asked about. Who do you listen to the most?
Who do I listen to the most? Well, I mean, these days I've gone down the rabbit hole on an old band called Tigers of Pantang.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
I've rediscovered their entire catalog, and it's funny because there's a couple of bands that I've done this with recently. A band out of Europe called Gothard, 25-year history. Nobody knows about them in North America. Thunder, a band out of England. I think they're on their 30th anniversary. Just zero kind of, and it's fun when you discover these bands 25, 30 years later and you go back through their entire discography because you don't have that bias of,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this album wasn't as good as that last one. Like to me, I've listened to some of these bands' albums, like Tigers of Pantang, since we're there.
Right.
They have an album called The Cage. The Cage, I would probably call it their sort of Kiss unmasked moment where they got really flowery and syrupy and ballady and cutesy and everybody who's a Tiger of Pantang fan from the first album fucking hates that album. It's awful. But coming into it later on, you go, it's kind of a interesting pop album. So, so these days, that Tigers, lots and lots of Scorpions. I always, for some reason, said, oh, the 70s Scorpions were awful and that's not my style and blah, blah, blah. And I just made a 40-song playlist of nothing but Scorpions from the first album to the 1979 album. I guess it was Love Drive. And I filled it with 40 songs, which is amazing to think about, that they had 40 songs that were good. And I just love that. So I'm into a lot of 70s Scorpions these days. Songs like Your Light and They Need a Million. Nobody thinks of the Scorpions and think of a song called They Need a Million. But I'm all in about that. So I guess I'm sort of in a retro mood these days where it's old Tigers of Pantang, old Scorpions, old Thunder, early day
Right.
Gothard. Metallica is always on the forefront. You can't go wrong with Metallica. They have this livemetallica.net where all their shows are available. And whenever I'm in the mood, I'll just spend the $9 and download a new show and go, okay, let's listen to Metallica in 2009 in Minneapolis. Why not? I got nothing to do. I mean, if you're going to spend $20 on a Star Wars movie, why not spend $9 on a band you like?
Right. Right.
And you get a 2-hour show. You get 2 hours of entertainment for $9. You spend $20 on the new fucking Star Wars, and you get 2 hours of entertainment. So, quite frankly, I think I'm ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you do, like, if you had a time machine?
Time machine,
Who would you go see?
boy, that's an interesting one because I've been seeing shows since '79, so I saw a lot of the bands that I like in their prime. I saw Guns N' Roses open up for Aerosmith. I saw these bands, and boy, some of the early bands I really don't care for. I mean, I don't want to go see Led Zeppelin. Fuck Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Stupid Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Boy, oh boy. Maybe. That's a really tough one. I guess maybe it would be either to go see very, very early day Kiss or very, very early day Metallica. Go see Metallica in a club in 1983 or something would be interesting.
Right. And tell Dave not to fight. Just go, Dave. Just relax.
Yeah,
Trust me. This
Dave,
is a good
chill out.
gig. Don't fuck this up.
This is going to work out. Just believe me. Or maybe go see some of these bands that I just mentioned, like
Mhm.
Tigers of Pantang or Gothard, that I've never seen ever. And now they're sort of at their twilight of their career, much like Kiss and all that. Maybe go back and see them when they were up and coming and say, listen, trust me, don't sign that record label deal.
Right.
It's not, MCA is not the choice for you. Boy,
I'm,
you know what?
I had to. I had to ask you that. I do.
I guess, well, if you need a definitive answer, we'll go with 1975 Kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
We'll
is
go
nice.
with that.
Yeah, I could see
right?
that. I could
You
see.
know,
Yeah.
let's all get in the van and head over to Cobo Hall, and let's just be there for alive.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. That really would. Well,
You know,
Mitch, I really do appreciate this. Anything you want to just plug real quick?
me plug, of course. That's my expertise. Yes, of course. Check out One on One with Mitch Lafon. That's the full name of the show. It is available sort of everywhere: Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes. Eventually, I get around to archiving everything on YouTube on my channel. You just go to YouTube and type in Mitch Lafon, at Mitch Lafon on Twitter. One on One Mitch Lafon is the Facebook page, and if you like to just look at pictures, Instagram is Mitch underscore Lafon, Mitchlafon.
Well, thank
There you
you.
go. I'm like a plugging whore right
You
now.
are
It's
amazing. You are absolutely. You know this. Fucking. You're like a. God,
a
you're
plug
amazing at
machine.
this. Folks, we've been listening. You've been listening to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast. I'm Vito D'Amico. Thank you so much. We've been listening to Mitch Lafon, and we will get a part two. Thank you for your time, Mitch. It means a lot. These are wonderful stories, and the beauty of these stories are they're true. This shit really happened.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Mitch. And if I don't talk to you, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you do. Thank you so much. And
Well, I basically try to hide so that nobody finds me, because then I have to like pretend I like them, and
that's what
that
I
just
do. That's my deal. That's what I do.
that becomes
I hide
complicated.
in the
So
basement and there's
actually,
a,
I cursed the NHL. I sit at home and go, "You fuckers! You took 3 days off. The 24th, the time I actually can sit here and watch you fuckers. You're not
no.
playing. Well, fuck you."
I sit in a ditch drinking liquor out of a shoe.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I
that's
do
a
for
hobby.
Christmas. So,
Yeah.
folks, I
That's
appreciate this, Mitch. Uh,
anytime.
folks, sell your soul to rock and roll because you'll live forever. Take out
Yeah.
an old tune, listen to it. There's nothing like putting on some good music, and it's the best music in the world. Rock and roll, folks. I prefer throw on some Judas Priest and get rocking. It feels good. It makes you feel young, makes you feel good, and just do it. It's good for you. It's healthy. Thank you so much, Mitch. Folks, I'm
You're
Vito
very welcome.
D'Amico. Be good and stay out of trouble. Ciao.
All right, good. And speaking of staying out of trouble, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have my head handed to me if I'm not where I'm supposed to be.